Chapter 12, Mission Improbable, Part 1. The invite must have fallen on the floor when I was unloading my backpack. I mean, how else could Jasper have gotten hold of it? When Mom brought it to the table where Dada and I were finishing our dinner, one corner of the mint green envelope was gummed and covered with slobber. Mango, you have to be more careful about things you leave on the floor. She held out the envelope. What's this? I don't know. You don't know? How can you not know when someone went to the trouble of writing your name with beautiful calligraphy? Looks like a professional job with gold leaf and everything. It's just a birthday party invitation, I mumbled. Mom said, who's having a birthday? The Queen of Sheba? Dada's left eyebrow arched. I thought everyone sent electronic invitations nowadays. Mom shook her head and smirked. Everybody except people with money to burn and attitude for kindling. She and Dada laughed. I was beginning to get irritated and pushed my plate away. It doesn't matter. I'm not going. Dada looked up from wiping crusty Italian bread into his homemade marinara sauce. Why not? I'm over birthday parties. He raised both eyebrows as he bit into the bread. Since when? Since now, Dada. Let it go, please. Mom eyed me suspiciously before sliding her finger under the flap of the envelope. I reached for it. What are you doing? I just want to see. Why should it matter if you're not going? She said and pulled out the fanciest invitation I'd ever seen. The card had a thin paper overlay that looked like lace, and on the cover under that was a photo of Haley Joanne wearing a tiara and a 600 tooth 50-watt smile. My goodness, Mom said. This is a fancy affair in the ballroom at the Rivoli. What a waste of money on a birthday party. Each of these invitations must have cost $10. Who's the party for? Dada asked as he poured a little more iced tea into his glass. I sighed. Haley Joanne. Pinky? Yes. Wow, Dada said, and took a long swallow of iced tea. Minnelli's catered a party for the Pinky's anniversary last year. It was a huge affair. The restaurant made thousands just from that one gig. I created the menu, did the prep, supervised the cooking, hired extra servers, and wound up getting a really nice tip. Mr. Pinky said I was impressive. He finished the last of his iced tea and got up from the table. I wonder if they've hired a caterer for that party yet. Sure would be nice to swoop in and pick up a gig like that. He shoved his hands into his pockets and left the kitchen. I nearly jumped out of my sneakers when Mom cried out, "Oh my goodness, boy! What in the world?" I turned to Jasper, who had turned his bowl of pasta upside down on his head. Marinara sauce dripped down his face and pasta hung on his head like long hair. Jasper laughed and clapped his hands. I couldn't help it. The little round brown clown had me laughing too. Even Mom chuckled as she took the bowl off his head, lifted him out of his high chair, and held him at arm's length as she hurried down the hall to the bathroom. I began clearing the table and smiled to myself as I thought about my crazy family and how much fun we had, especially when we were all together. I knew it wasn't right since Dada was out of work and all, but I had to admit I was enjoying having him home more. He wasn't as lighthearted as he usually was. He had a lot on his mind. I wished he could get that job catering Haley Joanne's party. I stopped clearing the table. An idea burst into my brain like a million gazillion fireworks. I could help him get the job. I could ask Haley Joanne, just like casually bring it up in conversation. Say something like, do you already have a caterer for your party? By the way, my father is an excellent caterer. Oh, yeah, great, Mango. That's real casual, I said to myself out loud. What's real casual? I turned, startled to see Dada standing behind me. I swear he moved quieter than a ghost. It took a few seconds of before I blurted out my lines. I was working on my lines for the play. A line that's supposed to be said really casual, like, hey, buddy, how are you doing today? But I don't think I figured out a way to say it casual enough yet. Dada just studied me for a few seconds and then said, just throw it away. You don't think about it like this. Hiya, rude boy. How it going today, brother? I giggled. Yeah, well, it's not Romeo and Juliet in Jamaica, Dada. I got back to cleaning the table. He grabbed the bowl out of my hand. Let me do that, honey. You go finish your homework and study your lines. I stood on my tiptoes and gave him a peck on the cheek. Dada grabbed his cheek and swooned. Kissed by a star, I'll never wash this cheek again. I left the kitchen laughing. My Dada, Sidney Ricardo Fuller, was the sweetest man in the whole wide world, and I was going to do whatever I could to get him hired to cater for Haley Joanne's birthday party. As soon as that thought crystallized in my mind, a mango pit plopped into my belly. How? How would I convince Haley Joanne Pinky to hire Dada to cater her grand affair? Since the YouTube thing, she'd been acting as if we were friends. So maybe I could actually act like we really were friends and... No. There was no way I could do it. I wasn't that good of an actor. The thought of actually having a casual conversation with the Queen Diva herself lured my index finger to my teeth, and the nail gnawing began. But then again, how could I not do it? Or at least take a stab at it? This would be a big chance for Dada to prove himself and change his life. It could even lead to his dream of having his own restaurant. Some way, somehow, I would have to find the courage to face Haley Joanne, pretend to be her friend, and agree to go to her party. Maybe then she would be fake kind enough to give Dada a chance. I didn't get a shot at speaking to Haley Joanne one-on-one either Tuesday or Wednesday. I knew the clock was ticking and the event was getting closer with each passing day. Finally, on Thursday, after a brutal dance rehearsal, natural rhythm must have skipped a generation with me, I bumped into Haley Joanne in the girls' locker room. She was changing after GOT, and I was so sweaty that I had to shower and change my clothes too. She asked if I was excited about the party. I did my best to pretend to be excited when I said, yes, it's practically the only thing I've been thinking about besides the play and school, I guess. I'm glad you're coming. Do you know what you're wearing? No, my thoughts hadn't got that far yet. Haley Joanne had actually put her finger on her chin, tilted her head, and struck a thinking pose and said, why don't you come over to my house this afternoon? My stylist pulls some dresses from all the best stores. It'll be fun, our very own private fitting. We can try on everything and pretend we're supermodels. It'll be uber crisp. I won't take no for an answer. You can use my phone to call your parents. My car's waiting out front at the curb. Hurry now, fashion waits for no go. Fingers fluttering, she darted out of the locker room. I sank down on the bench. What had I gotten myself into? I knew I could never afford a designer dress. There was no point of going to her house, except it might give me a chance to bring up the caterer thing and take a chance at helping Dada. I had to suck it up, quit being a wimp, and put myself out there for the family. That's the end of part 1 of chapter 12. Come back for part 2.